Hey guys, Jason here, and I want to tell you a quick story about networking and attending networking events. I was recently attending a pretty large networking event and saw a lot of people that I knew just from years working in the industry. There's probably about 150 people there, and also past colleagues of mine that I've worked with in the past. And they're obviously there to build new relationships and to have meaningful conversations. But something that was really alarming was that these individuals were not prepared. They were really just kind of attending on a whim. And I feel like that's maybe habitually or naturally became a progression for them just being in the industry as loan officers and attending events is they've kind of taken events for granted a bit. So I wanted to create 10 ways to network with purpose. That next time you're at a networking event, you're prepared, you know what to expect, you set your own expectations up front, so it is a meaningful time for you to spend and build relationships and have fun. So let's get into it, guys. I've developed 10 ways to network with purpose. Hopefully you can have a few takeaways. So the first one I want to talk about is your elevator pitch. And this is important because I know that in a traditional sense, an elevator pitch is very stats oriented. It's quick, it's stats oriented. We've been in business for this long. We have these loan programs. We can close loans in this amount of days. But really, when we're thinking about an elevator pitch in a networking style, we want to make sure it's very conversational and meaningful. So instead of stats oriented, make it conversation oriented and personality oriented. So my name's Jason. I work at XYZ Brokerage. I love working with smart real estate agents, people who are meaningful in their day to day and growing their business. Right? So like you're creating a sync with the individual that you're speaking to, and again, it's powerful. Like instead of just stats, it's conversational. So when you're thinking about your own elevator pitch, think about it in a sense of making it conversational instead of stats oriented. So second thing, bring value. And I love this one because it kind of makes you think and you can get creative with it. For me, I always bring I have like this leather satchel. I always carry it with me. It's kind of like, I don't know if you'd call it my signature look, but I just always have it with me. Even at networking events, I will bring a few of my favorite book. And if I get into a really cool conversation with somebody, I'll give them a book. Because again, it's impacted my life and I think it'll impact their life. And again, that builds a sense of relationship and trust with the individual that I'm speaking with. Now, I'm not going to bring 15 books with me, but I'll bring a couple. And if I feel like it's necessary that we're having a connection that they could bring value from also reading this book and we can continue that conversation onward, I'm going to tell them about it and I'm going to give it to them. But in other ways you can think about is an upcoming webinar or an event or a town hall, whatever the case may be, something that you could maybe invite this individual to when you're in conversation. So again, think about ways that you can bring value in conversation when you're attending these events. So that's number 2. Number 3, guys, business cards. And this is obviously a no-brainer, but I obviously have to say it for a reason because I've seen people actually not bring business cards to networking events. But to stand out from competition, we want to make sure that our business cards represent our style and brand, right? As professional, as sleek, modern, professional, right? So, and I've seen so many business cards that are like basically as flimsy as notepad paper. But check out mood.com. Mood.com is a great online resource to create some really awesome, professional, heavy cardstock business cards that you can use. Different color schemes, different styles. So check out mood.com to really separate yourself, even different shapes of business cards. And then also for those that are more digitally savvy, check out our interview with Mortgage Map, but Mortgage Map has a really cool digital business card that you can actually just text to referral partners and it will send them your business card. So check out Mortgage Map for the digital business card for those that are more digitally savvy, or mood.com. All right, moving on. 4, and again, I feel like I shouldn't need to say this, but dress to impress, right? It is important, it is imperative that our first impression is perfect, right? So if you walk into a networking event and you smell like booze and your shirt's unbuttoned and your pant leg is tucked into your sock, like I can think of, dirty shoes, whatever the case may be, your first impression is so important. It's the first thing we think of you when I see you, when I have a conversation with you. Our eyes judge. They do. It's natural. That's what we do. So make sure when you're attending a networking event that you're dressed to impress, that you're dressing like you want to make a solid first impression. So dress to impress, guys. 5, eye contact. And this is a tough one, but we have to stick with it because it is so meaningful in conversation. We're at a networking event, and I'm gonna tell you why it's tough. We're at a networking event. We try so hard to make eye contact, but it's tough because there's so many distractions around us. We've got people walking in the back, we see people we know, we hear conversations that we want to jump into, but it is so important to keep eye contact locked into the individual that you're talking to because, again, that is going to create a valuable trust for the individual that you're speaking to and trying to build a relationship with. If they bring out their phone or get distracted, that's okay. Let them do that. But keep your eyes locked in on the individual that you're speaking with. And if this is something that we can try to work on as we develop that skill, okay? So try this and try to develop that skill as you move forward. All right, so number 6, moving along. Hot potato of the conversation. I know we love talking about ourselves. To us as humans, we're the most important thing, right? But in conversation, we need to make sure that we are throwing the conversation back over to the person that we're speaking to because they love to talk about themselves as well. And we're here to listen and build trust with them. So the more that we can toss that conversation back to them, it is the better for you in the long run. They're going to leave having a very good lasting impression of who you are if you are a good listener. So for example, if they're talking and you ask them about their children or their family and they rebuttal you and say, do you have kids? Yes, yeah, I got 3. They're great kids. I would at this point just toss it right back. What do your kids do? What are they into? What are their hobbies? Where do you live? How did you get in real estate? Always toss that conversation back to them, and it's going to bring a lot of value to your conversation and make it very meaningful. All right, 7. There's nothing wrong with asking to introduce you to someone else at this networking event. I love this. I think it's so effective. If I'm building a really cool conversation with somebody and I want to use this conversation to maybe platform or springboard into another conversation, I'm going to ask them, hey, I understand that you also work with John Smith from XYZ Realty. He's a great guy. It seems like we have a lot in common. Would you mind introducing me to him? Of course they're going to say yes. Yeah, he's right over there. Let me go show you. Ask to introduce. Don't be afraid of this question. It's really, again, going to streamline your activities and relationship building at these networking events. All right, guys, number 8, moving along. Don't huddle but sprint. And I know that, again, this is a very tough one because when we get into conversation with a group, the conversation could be going very well. People are talking, we're listening to each other. It's going really well, but we can get comfortable in these situations and we have to put basically a time stop for ourselves in these conversations so we can keep moving the room and making our time valuable. So always think when you're in these situations, yes, we can get into a great conversation with a great group of people, but set a time limit and make sure you in the conversation yourself and don't let someone else in the conversation for you. So keep that in mind of sprinting in that conversation and don't letting yourself huddle. Number 9, and I love this, and this is why I love Facebook and technology. If I'm going to a big event, I'm going to pre-stock who's going to be there or who possibly is going to be there, right? I'm going to see if we're friends. If we're not friends, I'm going to send them a friend invite. If it's somebody that I want to meet with, I'm going to see what their interests are, right? Where they live, if they have what their family looks like, if they have kids, if they're married. I can even use, I didn't write this down, but the Charlie app that I've also written about in a blog is a great tool. It actually pulls all of the data of an individual from their website, from their LinkedIn, from their Facebook, from their Twitter, from their Instagram, whatever the case may be. It'll pull a library of content of their latest activities so you can get a handle of what they're saying on social media, what they're saying on the internet, so you can, again, kind of arm yourself for conversation in a sense. So check out Facebook and Charlie app to prepare yourself for your next networking event. Number 10, so important, but after an event, whether it's in the evening or a midday event, always text them after. Now, again, don't text them late at night, wait till the morning, but text them just thanking the individuals that you've met with, that it was great to get to know them, that you would love to carry on that conversation, and throw out a date. Are you free Thursday to continue our conversation? I'd love to learn more about your business. 10 a.m. right? Don't be afraid to throw that out of date, but texting them immediately after, again, is going to keep you top of mind with these guys and continue to build that relationship with these referral partners. And I threw in a bonus, guys, but this is so important, especially in a digital age, but send them out a handwritten card. Just, again, reiterating the time spent with them, the conversation you had with them, the time you spent at the event with them was very meaningful, and you would love to continue building that relationship with them. And for those of you who write a lot of cards, I recommend Bond.co. It's a really cool technology that actually writes note cards with real ink. So we've seen the fake handwritten stuff that you can obviously tell apart. This is actually a real ink pen. You can type out the message, it'll write in ink pen, and it'll send it out for you. So always send a handwritten card. Recommend using Bond.co for that. Guys, that's it. Those are my 10 ways to network with purpose. If you have some other ideas, please reach out to me and shoot me an email. Look forward to hearing it. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.